Now, we turn to the latest from the Rust movie set. Actor Alec Baldwin will be criminally charged by New Mexico prosecutors for the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Baldwin and the movie's armor, who loaded the gun Baldwin discharged, will both face 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say Baldwin had the duty to ensure the gun was properly checked and should have never pointed it at anyone. An attorney for the family of Helena Hutchins released a statement saying in part, quote, "It is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law." Here to discuss this is Rachel Fiset, a criminal defense attorney. Rachel, thank you for being with us. This is a big one. So walk us through these charges. How serious could this be for Baldwin and the armor? And what exactly does the assistant director's plea agreement look like in this case? And what does it mean?
These are very serious charges, and they are serious charges, the most severe charges you can get for an involuntary crime. The prosecutor has accepted that nobody intentionally killed Ms. Hutchins. So they do not have to prove intent on these crimes that they have charged. But from there, they are saying that there was so much negligence, that it was grossly negligent, and that the Alec Baldwin acted without regard for human life, conscious disregard for her life in the way this incident happened. So I believe you're exactly right. What they are saying is he didn't check the gun and he should not have pointed it at her. And they are doing the same thing as it relates to the armorer, whose job it was to check the gun and to control the weapons on set. So they are both facing the same charges. They are probably the same charges that Dave Halls would have been facing as the assistant director had he not pled guilty to lesser charges.
And I mean, Rachel, it's important to note here that we've now heard from actor and producer Baldwin's team. In a statement, they said, quote, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win." What exactly do you make of that statement and Mr. Baldwin's legal strategy moving forward? They're saying we will win. Do you think that is true?
That will be their defense, and their defense is not bad. Alec Baldwin was told that he was being handed a cold gun. He was relying on the representation from his assistant director that there were no live rounds in that gun. And that will be his first and foremost defense. And he was also doing what he was told on the set, which was to point the gun at the camera where Miss Hutchins was standing. So he is going to say inside of this set, he was relying on the people whose job it was to make sure that the gun was safe when it was handed to him, and he was doing what he was told to do.
And I think tonight a question on many people's minds is, are we going to see this very famous actor end up in prison, right? And our very own Miguel Almaguer actually sat down with Andrea Reeve, the special prosecutor on this case, and he asked her that very question, if she believes Baldwin should go to prison. First, let's take a listen.
You know, it's not my call right now to believe whether he goes to prison or not. Our focus is to get justice for Helena Hutchins and to let everybody know that just because you're an A-list actor, you're not going to be above the law.
So, Rachel, what happens here? What's next in this case?
Well, now the case will go like a normal case goes. So I think they have already engaged in a lot of plea agreements to see if they could settle this or dismiss this. That is my hunch based on the fact that there is already a plea agreement on the table for Mr. Halls. And now Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez will get all of the discovery. They will get their text messages back. They will get everything that they're entitled to, that the prosecution is relying on in prosecuting this case. There will be the normal hearings, arraignment, preliminary hearing. And I think if the prosecutor does not dismiss this case, that you will see a trial as it relates to these charges, because I do not think that Alec Baldwin is just going to accept a crime on this action. And where there's no middle ground, you generally see a trial.